Hey everybody, I'm here with Alan Young from Armor Concepts, and we're going to talk today about their flagship product, door armor. I've talked about this with you guys at Gear Tasting before, but today we lucked out. We found a house in Dallas that's abandoned, and we actually got to install one of these things. Alan worked very hard to install this today, but we're actually going to kick through this door to see if we can make their product fail, which I don't think is going to happen. But this is the door armor. This is their product. I want to let Alan kind of briefly talk about Armor Concepts as well as kind of explain the setup and what we installed on the door.
Right.
So
Armor Concepts, we were founded in 2004, basically because we were renovating houses like this, houses that were in transitional areas, and people did exactly what they did to this house. They'd come and they'd kick the door in. They would steal our cabinets, our pipes, our appliances, just like they did to this house. So we realized that it was costing me a fortune because I was putting up the money for it, and realized we needed to do something. There was nothing on the market, so we went out and we developed our first product, which is door jamb armor. We did well with that, but it was way too hard to install. So a number of years later, we developed door armor, which basically takes all the concepts that will stop someone from physically kicking in a door and makes it easy to install at the same time. So the typical installation time is really between 20 and 30 minutes. If you have a door like this one, it can take a little longer, but most of the time it's really not difficult to install.
So essentially you're reinforcing the door jamb itself.
Exactly. So this is what we call the door shield. Then this goes on the frame of the door right here. And this is really the most important part because it stops the door from splitting the frame when it's kicked. If you understand how a door works, there's a deadbolt going in here and there's about a half an inch of soft wood that's really stopping the door from opening. So what this does, it lays up against it. As you can see, there's a bunch of different holes that you can knock out. So if you have more than one deadbolt, if you have more than one lock, if you have a deadbolt that's halfway up the door, you just slide it up and it's very easy to install. The other parts that are really kind of equally as important, once you've reinforced that jamb part, you have the door shields, which go on the lock area of the door over the deadbolt and the doorknob, and the kit comes with two of those. And then you have the hinge shields. One of the pieces that people generally forget about are the hinges. And what we found out, the hard way, is that if you reinforce that side of the door and you don't reinforce the hinges, then people just kick the door off of the hinges and they get in just as easily. So the hinge shield, again, you never have to take the door off the frame. You never have to really alter anything. This goes over the hinge, two screws come out, two screws go back in, and then you're basically reinforcing the stress of a kick, and that's why the product works. You're able to use a relatively thin gauge of steel, that's 16 gauge steel. For 95% of doors, you're able to fit that piece in.
Because really all that's happening during a typical door kick-in is the deadbolt, is only extending, what is that, an inch or so into the frame, and it's very easy because there's no resistance against that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we're just reinforcing the weak points in the door. People say, why don't you make the piece go all the way up to the top of the door? And the answer to that is it really wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, physics is physics.
You're distributing the weight.
Exactly. We're distributing the force of the kick, throughout the strike plane. And making it longer would just make it more difficult to ship and more expensive.
Yeah. Well, as you guys know, I talk a lot about home security, especially on Gear Tasting, and it's really a treat to kind of get here and talk to Alan and learn more about the product and also to kick down a door. It's not very often you get a chance to do that. So we did a demonstration a while back. We had built a frame and did something like that, but this is a true steel door. This is an exterior door. Actually, this home that we're in right now is actually earned some brownie points with me because they have a little peephole viewer in their garage, which is pretty cool. You don't see that very often, and especially using a steel door too.
Yeah. So the only thing that's a little bit different about this door is this door was extremely tight. So we tell people generally if you're going to install this, test the space between your door and your door frame, and if you can fit 2 quarters in there, you'll have absolutely no problem installing this in about 20 to 30 minutes tops. If you don't have that space, there's usually some things that you can do to give yourself more space. And if you still don't have some space, we've actually introduced a new product, which is ITS Tactical is actually the first people to see this product.
You may not be able to see it very well, but there's a thin piece of metal here to just the left of the deadbolt. which you said prevents prying?
Exactly. So this piece actually serves two purposes. For the doors that don't have any clearance, it prevents us from having to have the door shield on this edge of the door, which makes the door easier to close. And it actually sandwiches the door, so it does that, performs kind of a similar purpose in preventing the door from splitting, because that's what's really important to happen here. If you just reinforce this part of the jamb and you don't reinforce this part of the door is going to split right in half. So this sandwiches the door, prevents the door from splitting, and it also prevents someone from being able to get a pry bar in here.
Yeah, that's great.
We're seeing a lot more of that really around the country, and we knew we needed to figure out some kind of solution.
Awesome. Well, let's give it some kicks and see what happens.
All right.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right, so first I'll try a couple of normal kicks from the front, and then I'll kind of do some donkey kicks from the rear. I think I'm going to give up. Can do like a flying judo kick. All right, that's all I got. All right, so now I'm sweaty. That's crazy, nice. Man. I gave it my all on that door, dude. So
yeah, and you know this was one of the more difficult doors to do. Again, most of the time it's very easy. With this one, there was actually a metal plate behind where the screws go, and so we actually had one less screw.
Wow, that was with one less screw.
That was with one less screw that you
crazy.
did that. So the kit comes with 17 3.5-inch screws. They're self-tapping, so you don't have to pre-drill. They come with a square drive. And as you saw, that's what you just saw is the reason why we offer a $500 lifetime guarantee.
So what does that mean if somebody kicks it in?
If your door is kicked in with this kit properly installed, we'll pay the first $500 of
That's
your
cool,
home
man.
deductible.
Yeah.
13 years. We've actually paid 2 warranty claims. Neither one because the product failed. One was because the door snapped in half.
Wow.
And we still honored the warranty. And one was because...
The other was ninjas, right?
Yeah. Actually, the other one was because the complete bottom of the door was busted off.
Man.
So we stand by the product.
But this was still intact.
This was... our piece was perfect.
So they had to crawl. They had to crawl in.
They actually crawled in through the bottom of the door.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so at the end of the day, we think like a lot of your customers think. We don't expect anyone to believe what we say.
Yeah.
So we put our money where our mouth is, and we welcome anyone that wants to test it to come.
Just so you guys know out there too, we're not getting paid for this. We're just doing it to test it out. So there's no impetus for me to go easy on the door. Like I'm sweaty. Okay, I kicked it very hard, so I thought I was gonna break my leg. I didn't want to go that far, but yeah, it was cool, man. It's I mean, I'm a believer. I love home security stuff. I kind of geek out on that, and I'm always talking about it on ITS because I think it's one of the things that is super practical for people to pick up on. If you can do small improvements like this around your home, it really pays dividends. So you're buying time, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
you know?
and that is what it's all about.
Can someone still get in your house? Yes, but
yeah, we tell people all the time the trick is not to make your house a fortress. If someone has an hour, they're going to get into your house. They can climb through a window. They can climb through the chimney. There's all kinds of stuff they can do. They can cut a hole through the wall. But if someone has 15, 20 minutes to get into a house, and the average thief is in and out of a house in 3 to 5 minutes, that's what they want to do. They're not going to take 25, 30 minutes trying to get into your house.
Yeah.
So if your doors are secured to the point they can't kick them in, they're just going to go to maybe your neighbor's house. But it's better than your
Move
house.
on to a less harder target.
As they say, if you and I are getting chased by a dog, I don't have to be faster than the dog. I just have to be faster than you.
That's right.
So door armor costs $79 retail.
That's awesome.
And you know, you're
And that's the whole kit you talked
that's the
about,
whole
right?
Kit. That's the whole kit.
Yeah.
That's for the full kit. The mini kit is a little bit less than that. It's $59 if you don't want the
So
hinge
what's the mini
protection.
kit?
The
That's-
mini
that's
kit
without
is
the hinge
everything.
protection.
It comes without the hinge protection. It actually comes with screws to reinforce the hinges. A little bit less secure, but still, frankly, more secure than anything
Yeah.
else that's
No
on the
joke.
market. So,
Well,
it's,
one thing they are doing for
totally
us is
affordable.
if you are a member on ITS, there is a discount code for you. So they've been gracious enough to give us one of those. So check your membership dashboard if you guys are a member on ITS. And where can they find out about your product online?
So our website is armorconcepts.com. We have a lot of information. We have a lot of security information, a lot of free tips. And while the site is well, we're certainly not as good at the reviews and everything as Bryan is. We try to do our best to make sure that there's some good stuff in there for y'all to learn about.
Awesome. Thanks, Alan. I appreciate your time, brother.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.